This video is being created for the purpose of being able to build confidence in not only knowing what all of the flat notes are, but to also be confident in being able to navigate through all of them. In other words, we want to have a full command of the flats. I will be going through drills, practice drills that we can use to build up our mental muscles. So before I start to do the drills, I want to review some things that I've been talking about in the previous videos. You have in music what's called a musical alphabet, which is the letters A through G corresponding to pitches. In between each of those letters, there's what's called a sharp or a flat note. Each one of these notes has two names. It has its sharp name and it has its flat name. So it really depends on what key you're in and things like this, which name you call it by. The letters B, C, and the letters E, F are the exceptions to this rule in that they don't have a sharp or flat in between, but all of the other letters do. In this video, we're talking about flats, so we're not going to use the sharp names of these letters. We're going to use the flats. I did videos on the sharps already. You could go back and I kind of went through the same process here that we're doing here. And specifically what I want to talk about is being able to navigate up or down by half steps with confidence. But we're going to focus on me giving you time to quiz yourself, to test yourself to see if you know the answers. When you keep getting the answer right, you know that you know the stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go through all of the notes again. We have the ascending, starting on the letter A, on the note A. If you go up, you have above A, half a step is the note below B, right? Between A and B, which is B flat. Above B flat is B. Above B is actually C because there's no flat between B and C. Just 1 second as I start my car. It might try to play a video I was watching. And it wants to take forever. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Between C and D is going to be D flat, right? Between D and E is going to be E flat. Between E and F, well, there's just a half step, there's no flat there. Between F and G is going to be G flat. And between G and A is A flat. So these are all the notes. And this is one way that I really do love to think about this. So I ask myself, what is the flat note that's between C and D? What is the flat note that's between F and G? See, like this. This way you're thinking of it in terms of 3-note clusters. So we can do this drill, and we could do the drill where we could start on a note and say what's a half step below, what's a half step above. So let's get into the drill now, okay? Tell me, what's the note that's below B? The note below B. It's going to be B flat, right? Because the flat means that you're lowering the note that the flat symbol's on by half a step. So it's the note below B, B flat. All right, cool. What's the note that's below F? Remember, E and F don't have a flat between. What's the note below F? It should be E. Okay, what's the note that's below G? G flat. All right, we did this in the last video, so we should be pretty confident. Well, I'll do all of them. The note below A flat, note below B flat. Note below C is going to be B because there's no flat between B and C. Note below D is D flat. Note below E is E flat. Note below F, well, the E F rule, right? So it's E. The note below G is G flat. Note below A is A flat. Now we can start practicing going up and say, well, what's the note then above C? See, this is why I like to do it I like to think always in terms of 3-note clusters. 3-note clusters, because it's better to be like, to always revert to say, well, a note above C, right? And then you think in terms of, well, I got C and D. What's the note between? And now it's easy to find it because you have C and you have D in mind when you're looking at it that way. You say, okay, if I'm in flat mode, it's the note that's below D or D flat. So the note above C is D flat. So what's the note above F? Note above F. It's going to be G flat. And you can keep asking yourself like this with all of the letters. You know, I'm actually taking the time to sort of do it here. But really, you got to do it more than just what these videos have. You got to do it more if you want to be strong. What is the note above A? Note above A. Now, note above A, we got A and B next to each other. A and B next to each other. Okay, so the note above A is the same note as the note that's below B. So it has to be B flat. See that reasoning right there? That's what you want to master. So I'm actually going to move to 3-note clusters drill here, because I think it's stronger for the sharps and the flats. 3-note cluster drill. Let's do it, all right? What's the note between A and B? Oh, now I'm thinking about A and B, and I'm thinking about that note that's between A and B. What's it called? What's its flat name? Well, its flat name means it needs to be below something, right? Okay, so it's not below A. It's between A and B, so it's not below A. So it's below B. What's the note that's below B? B flat. See? And this is the whole reasoning we're going to go through. I'll do the reasoning, the logic again. What's the note? So we know B and C are right next to each other. What's the note between the notes C and D? What's the flat note between C and D? Okay, so I have C and D, and there's a note between C and D. The note that's between C and D in flat mode is the note, it's below something, right? But it can't be below C because the note that's between C and D is above C and below D. So it's the note between C and D is the note that's below D. Oh, so the note above C is the same note as the note that's below D. But I'm in flat mode, so I need to think in terms of a note that's below another note. It's below D. So what's the note below D? D flat. If that ran past you, if this logical reasoning is running past you, play it back a few times. What I'm doing is not complicated, like a child can do it. It's just that sometimes words are not as effective for understanding as concepts could be, right? In other words, when I'm doing it in my head, it's way easier than listening to that nonsense that I just said. Let's do another example. Between F and G, there's a note between F and G. It's the note above F and it's the note below G. See, depending on how I want to think about it, I could say it's the note above F, F sharp. But that's sharp mode. What's the note between F and G in flat mode? Well, then it's the note below G, G flat. So F sharp is G flat, right? So it's the G flat. So we're going to build our confidence with the flats this way. And I will do another video after this. I think this is good for the flats. And then I'm going to start to do shifting back and forth between thinking in terms of sharps and flats. You'll see what I mean in the next one. And then we're going to build confidence in doing whole step jumps in both. And then we're going to be ready to go. We're going to be ready to go. See, I'm taking my time here. I'm not trying to rush through all of this. This is not the most exciting material to look at or to make a video for, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to make sure that I'm not leaving any stone unturned here so that you could build your confidence. I already know this stuff. I already did all of this. Years and years ago, I did all of this. I'm trying to show you how to acquire the skill that I've acquired. This is what you got to do. It is what it is. I can't change that. I don't make the rules about like how reality is supposed to work and stuff, you know, but this is what it is, what I've discovered and what we can do. So let's practice now again, right? Between G and A, there's a note between G and A. What's that note? Well, flat mode is the note below the A. What's the note below A? A flat. All right, let's do some rapid fire here. Let's do some rapid fire so you can see. I'll do it, right? I'm not gonna pause. I'll do some rapid fire so you can think really quickly before I say it, right? To see if you're getting it right. I'm gonna go through the whole thing now, all of the notes. Between A and B, it's the note below B, B flat. Between B and C, well, there's not a note there between B and C. It's just B, C, half step apart. Between C and D, it's the note above the upper note, which is D. So it's not above. Let me say that again. Between C and D, it's the note. The name of the flat name is going to be D flat. The note below D. Let's keep going. Between D and E. D and E. The note between D and E. It's the note below E. What's that called? E flat. Okay? Between E and F, there's a half step. There's no flat note between E and F. Between F and G. F blank G. What's the note? What's the note that goes in a blank? The note below G. G flat. Now between G and A, there's a note between G and A. It's going to be the note for flat name is going to be, we're going to think of A and say what's the note below A. A flat. So you go through all of the notes. A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A, like this. I hope your confidence is building. If it's not, I highly recommend watching the videos, watching back the video, because it's through repetition that we gain familiarity. You can't beat up on yourself. Like this is like, okay, like when we were in school, they kind of made us feel shame when we couldn't learn stuff before the test or whatever. This is not that. Everybody learns at a different pace. And some people, their brain like automatically turns off once you start showing them detail. Like this kind of stuff turns your brain off. I get it. I don't find this exciting either. Maybe I have a little more patience than you for it, but it's not my favorite thing to think about this, to talk about this. But I do like music. I like to be able to understand what I'm doing in music. I like to be able to play and understand. When I'm holding my guitar, I like to be able to create something and understand what I just did. I like to be able to improvise on my guitar and find really cool flavors and colors. I need to have some understanding of this. There's no way around it. So be patient with yourself. Hang in there. And keep coming back. Look, 90% of the battle is just showing up. That's how to become consistent. Just show up every time. Don't judge yourself that much about how good you do today. Just show up. Then tomorrow, just show up again. I'm gonna study music theory. But I'm gonna watch 10 minutes worth of that guy today. You know, or if you have other stuff that you watch, but spend 10 minutes every day. Spend 10 minutes working on this particular aspect of your life that you want to grow in. But show up every time. 90% of the battle is showing up. And then over time, don't compare like how you did yesterday to today. How you felt like you were, man, I was on to yesterday, and now today I stink. I forgot everything. Don't compare yesterday to today. Compare like last month. Like show up every time, every day. And then compare how you were doing last month to this month. I guarantee you'll see progress from comparing what last month to this month. Like this way, you understand? See, I'm trying to show you tricks. The things that I've learned that have helped me with everything I've tried to, I've mastered many things in my life. This is the process you gotta do. You gotta show up. You gotta not judge yourself too hard. Like have high standards, but don't judge yourself too hard. But what happens is you'll convince yourself that you don't have what it takes, or it's just not worth the effort for you. But I guarantee you, it is worth the effort if you don't quit. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video, and where I'll be going into this stuff in a stronger way. If you compare the first video where I started to talk about what a sharp is to what we'll be doing in the next video, you'll see how fast we've progressed. And if you're able to follow so far, you're doing a great job. Just keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, I'll see you later.